So in this video, I did about a 10 to 20 minute lesson with my 5-year-old nephew at his house in his playroom, and we start off by doing bounce and trap with the ball with no racket. After he gets the hang of it, then we add in the racket and we start to get him to be able to try to bounce and trap it on the strings. And from there, we start to do some balancing activities with the ball on the strings. And we move on to bounce and tapping the ball up. It is a bigger, heavier ball, so he does struggle with being able to hit it up. So we switch to hitting it down and tapping it down and making sure that he can bounce it, hit it down, and try to trap it as well. And so he's giving that a couple tries, practicing that multiple times over and over. He gets the part where he can hit it down and is struggling to try and get it to trap, but he's pretty determined and wasn't really deterred by this and had a lot of fun trying to continue doing the activity multiple times. And that's something you always have to gauge as a coach or a parent, is to see how much enjoyment the child is getting. And sometimes if they are not enjoying it, they might be getting too frustrated and you want to switch up the activity and move on to something else. So I try not to stay on any one activity for too long. Now we move on to roll ball tennis, and it's very simple. We keep the ball on the ground, we roll it from one player to the other, and it's just trap, try to get them to turn sideways and roll it. Trap, try to get them to turn sideways and roll it. He was starting to choke up on the racket a little bit, so I just had to readjust a little bit and show him the proper way to trap the ball and then to turn and roll it back. And he was doing really well with this, so we started advancing to, I'm going to move him over to the side a little bit, and then I'm going to lead him forward with the ball so he can start moving his feet and then trapping it and rolling it back to me. You'll see at first that he's taking pretty big steps to try and trap it. So what I try to get him to do is I try to have him take multiple steps so he starts learning how to move his feet to the ball to get there and trap it. He's still doing the big steps, but after a couple tries he does start to understand to take multiple steps to the ball to get there, and he does a really great job of it, and he was really enjoying this activity. There you see him taking a lot of steps out to the ball. And it also starts to work on recovery for a player, which is very important in tennis. After you make contact or after you hit the ball, you want to recover back and get back to your home base or wherever your ready position or your starting position is. From here, we progress on to trying to get him to learn how to bounce hit the ball. I started by tossing it to him first. He didn't have the coordination for it right off the bat, so I went up to him and helped him do the bounce hit, and then after some practicing, then he was getting it on his own, fairly successful, trying to work on the control too, so not making sure he's hitting the ball as hard as he can, but just enough to get it back to me so that I can catch it and toss it back to him again, and he did really well with that. And then we progress finally to the foam ball. So the foam ball is much lighter than the previous ball that was being used, and here we're trying to do the bump ups again that he was struggling with before when the ball was too heavy. Now he's going to try to bump this ball up, let it bounce, and trap it. So I'm doing it with him here, showing him how to do it, and then I try to have him do it on his own, and sometimes he's not letting it bounce on the ground and he's trying to bump it up right away with his strings. And sometimes he is letting it bounce on the ground and he's tapping it up with the strings and he's going to trap it. And he did such a great job.